If I ask you three very top parenting mistakes that you find the Muslim families are making in today's time.
As the Prophet ﷺ had encouraged us to choose our friends well, because we'll be raised on the day of judgment with them.
How important it is for a parent to have sound Islamic knowledge, because a lot of time what we're doing is becoming cultural Muslims.
The Prophet ﷺ, spoke negatively about nations that take females as their leaders. It means that the male role has been abandoned. The society can't find a male capable of leading the whole community.
Someone who is a revert cherishes it more than someone who is born as a Muslim. What advice would you give to all of us who are born Muslims, how we can also develop or inculcate in ourselves that spirit that we need to cherish Islam since we are born with that?
We need to get a hold of the bull by the horns, as they say, grab the bull by the horns and tackle these challenges.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today, I am very honored to host a very visionary scholar who is also conducting dawah all across the globe. He's an also educator, Dr. Bilal Philips. Basically, if you look at this world at this time, it is filled with confusions, a lot of illusions, distractions, and at the same time, identity crisis. And this is putting a lot of load on the parenting. Parents are totally devastated. They're confused, they're frustrated, they're paranoid, because what they want to focus on is their child. They want to raise him as a confident believer and wants him to excel in deen. But this is not happening. The ground reality is that if in this age and time, things have changed. So with Dr. Bilal Philips, I would like to explore not just what is in theory, but what we see at the global level, different insights into the parenting. I welcome you, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My pleasure to be here.
Jazakallah khair. So being the founder of IOU, I mean, you started the online platform when I think the concept of online learning did not actually existed. That requires a lot of vision. Now, if you look at the parents of today time, what do you see? You feel they have that vision for parenting, they understand what are the challenges of today's time, or you feel that they are lost?
Well, I would think, or I would say that the awareness of today's families, parents, are more, there's a greater concern about the future with regards to their children, and more efforts are being made in this period than earlier to find alternative methods of learning and teaching, and more institutions are coming up online. The COVID opened up doors that were closed before, and more people are developing online programs to benefit the Muslim community in different parts of the world. In particular, the International Open University has been engaged with schools in the US and in India and also in Pakistan to try to develop modes of education which allow for online education.
For the parents.
For parents, yes.
If I ask you three very top parenting mistakes that you find the Muslim families are making in today's time.
Top parenting mistakes would, I think, be giving the children too much exposure to the devices, the online easily accessible programs, and not being strict in controlling the use, where children are becoming more and more caught up and addicted with it. I'm seeing more elder young people who have grown up with the online digital games and programs continuing on into their later years.
When a parent says we teach Islam at home, but our children are still drifting away from it, what do you think is something that we can say to these parents that where they are going wrong, or what is it that they can adopt?
Well, probably the key factor is the friends that they keep. You know, the circle of friendships, visiting, communicating, doing common activities together. These circles are not carefully monitored and carefully chosen. You know, as the Prophet ﷺ had encouraged us to choose our friends well, because we'll be raised on the day of judgment with them. So we have to take special care to ensure that as much as possible, our interactions with other families, etc., should be based on faith. We tend to keep our interactions to family members, etc., and faith doesn't play a role. You know, we just feel family obligations require, and we do what is expected of us.
A lot of time parents, they end up saying that we do want our children to practice Islam, but somehow we are raised with this fear, or there is a fear at the back of the mind that what if my child develops low self-esteem, or develops some sort of repulsion for the religion. So I want to make things easy for my kid. What would be your take on this?
Well, no harm in making things easy and keeping our children interacting with other families where they have similar concerns, and engaging themselves in group activities, family to family activities, where people are Islamically conscious and the proper, guidelines and red lines are observed. You know, one doesn't exclude the other. You know, we try to bring them both together.
Okay, how important it is for a parent to have sound Islamic knowledge, because a lot of time what we're doing is becoming cultural Muslims. From whatever society we're coming from, we have no idea where to draw the line and where to have clarity about what is there in Quran and Sunnah, and again, what is the role that is being played in this perspective by IOU.
Well, we encourage people to take responsibility for their actions, to know what is going on in the homes and the families of those people who we're interacting with. We have the responsibility of da'wah for those who are maybe not concerned and careful about their own activities, how much they're open to Western ideas and concepts which, can damage families and family relations. We have to take the responsibility of ensuring that our gatherings, our interactions are positive and constructive for building family relations with non-family friends and neighbors and the circle that is around every family normally. We have the responsibility of being careful to ensure that our circles are positive and beneficial, strengthening our faith. We should be proud that our children are interacting with other children who have similar guidance and concern. Our interaction with their parents, etc., and families, would be positive and important for increasing the positive feedback from activities that we are doing, we're engaged in.
What you're talking about is basically building a village for the kids, and also, yes, providing the support structure for the families.
Yes.
Okay. Usually in most of the families, what we do is husband is usually busy with earning and with a lot of struggles, and it's the mom's job which is taken up as doing tarbiyah of their kids. What will be the role of the father according to the Islamic principles, and also out of your own experience as a father? What would you recommend to the fathers that what role they should be playing in supporting their families so that they can nurture them at the same time?
Well, as the Prophet ﷺ had said, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته, that each and every one of us is like a shepherd responsible for his or her flock. So the primary responsibility is put on the shoulders of the father, the head of the family. And he cannot just absolve it and leave it to be taken care of by his wife and other members of the family. He has to take an active role in protecting and guiding the family, down this Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path which we are praying for in our daily prayers. So he has to take a leading role. I mean, this is why the Prophet ﷺ, spoke negatively about nations that take females as their leaders. That it means that the male role has been abandoned. The society can't find a male capable of leading the whole community. So they've left it to a female. And it's not mean to say this is not permissible, but it is a bad sign, and it's indicative of weaknesses in the overall structure of the society.
Absolutely. Okay, now we have new terms coming up, and people talk about generational trauma. They talk about identity crisis. Do you think that when we talk about Islamic studies and families investing in learning Quran and also implementing it in their life, it is going to play a major role in stopping this generational trauma or helping with the identity crisis?
Well, for sure. Identity crisis goes back to a lack of knowledge of Islam. There's a gap there that the family isn't filling properly, because that kind of attitude where disrespectful behavior is expressed towards the adults of the family, um, which has been widespread in the West,
Yeah.
the Western civilization today, where, children are no longer accountable to
Yes, because they have
their
been given a
adults.
lot of autonomy. That is why.
Yeah, and but it's also, it's not just a matter of autonomy. It's also, how we have brought them up from the early stages.
Okay.
That the respect for the elders. The Prophet ﷺ had said, one who doesn't respect our elders and is kind to our younger members, is not of us. So it's not the Islamic way. Islamic way, there should be respect for the elders, and there should be gentleness done in our dealings with the younger ones. Both elements have to be there.
Okay. So with the social media, now we have LGBTQ agenda, then we have secularism, then we have so many ideologies around, and they're deeply embedded in the general education system as well as the entertainment. So parents are really very worried. And what advice would you give them? What kind of moral filter should be there when they want to protect their youth and their children and their families from such disasters?
Well, people have to be prepared to make sacrifices. The sacrifice might be hijrah, where they can't find suitable educational models that their children can be put in, etc. Then they need to be prepared to move elsewhere to find a suitable circumstance and give their children the best opportunities to develop in a wholesome way and a way pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These challenges are challenges of our generation. A new set of challenges, have come up, and the society is weak. It's become open to virtually anything that becomes popular. It's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's doing it. So, it's okay. But in fact, it's not okay. And we need to look into the various trends seriously and be prepared to make hijrah, if necessary, to areas where Islam can be practiced on a communal level, on a community level, because many of us end up living on our own without a circle of Islamic friends and relatives, etc., to reinforce whatever it is we're trying to teach our children.
Listening to you, I am sort of making a comparison in my mind between a person who is born Muslim and sort of taking religion for granted. And that is why a lot of time when we are struggling or there are hurdles in life, so we become either apologetic or we're looking for some easy way out for ourselves. And now that I'm talking to, mashallah, you, a revert, and you're taking a very bold stance in different situations. So this is a big challenge for us. Someone who is a revert cherishes it more than someone who is born as a Muslim. Again, what advice would you give to all of us who are born Muslims, how we can also develop or inculcate in ourselves that spirit that we need to cherish Islam since we are born with that?
Well, it's a shame that, so many Muslim communities globally, have taken the same route as has become the norm in Western civilization. And Islam has just become a name. So much so that our brothers and sisters are being tortured, dying in Gaza and all of this is taking place, and the Muslim world, seems incapable of standing up and playing its role in correcting this, stopping
Absolutely.
it. So this goes back to the tarbiyah, the upbringing that we have given to our children. Obviously, it has not given them that consciousness of brotherhood and responsibility to help our fellow Muslims when they are in times of difficulty and strain, etc. So we can only ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to awaken our hearts and strengthen our resolve to play the role that we should play as an ummah together. And it is only with that kind of commitment to work together as the ummah that we're going to be able to change anything.
Absolutely. You just talked about tarbiyah. A lot of parents, they are so scared to enforce Islamic values in the home system because they say that if we sort of push our children too much towards, let's say, salah, hijab, or any other boundary which is related to halal and haram, our kids are going to rebel. So, how to deal with that fear and also instill the right Islamic foundational principles into the life of their kids?
I think this goes back to a large degree to the communities that we are in. Because if the communities reinforce wayward behavior, lax approaches to fulfilling the requirements of the deen on the various levels, then our families will crumble. The Western families already have gone through a crisis, the children leaving home, being taken away by, various governmental institutions which look after children who are in danger, etc. So many cases of it happen, especially for Muslims.
Yes.
And especially in the West. In the Muslim world, the challenge is maybe more focused in imitation of the West.
Yeah.
Where our children, even though we're trying to keep them away from the excesses that are in the media and the online programs, etc., we have not spent enough time and effort to protect our children from these dangers.
Yeah.
And we need to be, as families, finding alternatives to the easy route of just giving them devices, letting them, explore themselves and find whatever they find. And
yes, that's a big issue because, as you mentioned, a lot of these kids, when they go online and everything the parents tell them, they feel you're controlling us. Now, there is also another dilemma that is of the single parents. A lot of time when I'm also talking to parents and guiding them about any parenting principles. So now the questions that are coming up are from the worried moms or worried dads, and they say, I'm a single parent and I'm totally lost in the parenting, how to manage my kid. What advice would you give them?
Well, they should link up with the various Islamic organizations that are socially conscious, that have programs designed to activate the members of the community to work together, to bring the families together, to be engaged in activities which build iman, build links with other Muslims, etc. That this kind of activism, as opposed to just laying back and leaving things to go whichever way they will go by themselves, and usually that's to disaster. It's a formula for disaster. that we need to get a hold of the bull by the horns, as they say, grab the bull by the horns, and tackle these challenges and establish communities that are, Islamically viable. It's possible. If enough families get together, choose locations where Muslims can interact properly in a way which builds their iman and their righteous deeds. Uh, I mean, it's being done in different parts of the world, maybe not highlighted often in discussions and talks, etc. But we can try to revive that and to upgrade it and make people more aware. Look what they're doing here. Look what they're doing there. People are, and then we should be ourselves prepared to move. To leave what it is that we're comfortable with now, but where we can clearly see danger ahead coming.
That's like really important. Okay, looking at youngsters of today, the Muslim youth, how we can develop confidence in them to be visibly Muslim without any shame. Usually kids, they want to look like general kids in the community, and they don't want to have that carry on their Muslim identity. They say, I believe in my heart, and I'm not yet ready to face wherever I'm, the communities where I'm living.
Well, if it's our own children, then we have to introduce them to other families where the children or the young people are not ashamed of being Muslim and acting like Muslims. This becomes all of this links back to the issue of the circle of friends that we develop.
Okay.
And the only way out of it is to develop a circle where our young people will be encouraged by those that they're coming in contact with to be ready to make a step forward in implementing Islam on different levels. And we also should encourage activities which keep them, thinking and acting and being creative.
Okay.
And take them for Hajj.
Yeah.
Take them for Umrah.
Yeah.
If it means breaking the cycle, try to get them exposed to something more positive, get something more spiritual.
And more original.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have talked a lot about friends and also the impact of the family. What about the role models? Because in our times, one of the major complaints that a lot of time youngsters would come up with, and even the parents, they would always come worried, where do I find the right role models for my kids? And even kids come up and say, what is it that I could find in a role model where I can practice? And we also understand that in our deen, there is a lot of importance of role models. So what would you advise to parents for the role modeling, the general community, the society, and also the youngsters related to role modeling?
I think it still comes back to the hijrah concept. We have to be prepared to make, a bold step to try to link up with positive role models for our family. If we can't find it where we are, we can't create it, we can't make it happen, then we have to be prepared to move, and we will be asked on the Day of Judgment as to why we didn't move when Allah said...
What was our excuse?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Bilal Philips. You pulled out time from your busy schedule. I'm really humbled to, as your student, to be here and talking to you. And I'm sure most of the parents, they must have benefited. And to all the parents who are listening, I would say you're not alone. Keep learning, keep praying, and remember the power of dua and all the advice that have been given to you. Be bold and be assertive. because end of the day, we are accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not the society. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.